Social Development Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu will hand over a multimedia centre to the Life Recovery Centre in Randfontein. That's on Johannesburg's West Rand today. This is being done just ahead of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. Now, the project under the theme Health for Justice, Justice for Health is in partnership with the Gauteng Department and the MTN Foundation. Let's chat some more about this with the Deputy Minister this morning. Deputy Minister, good morning and thanks for your time.
Good morning.
So you're heading off to hand over this multimedia centre. What is the centre all about, and how are you hoping this is going to help the problem of, the fight against drug abuse and illicit trafficking?
Firstly, we need to just introduce the Randfontein Drug Rehabilitation Centre in adding to the services that we provide as the Department of Social Development at that centre, because that is a centre that is paid for by the Department of Social Development. We also established a halfway house that should enable young people not to be involved in a revolving door that for a year. And now what we are doing today, we are adding programs so that we make sure that the year that we provide for the young people at the halfway house after their detox and rehab, while we do community facilitation, family reunification, they also need to leave the center with a skill. And we know that the fourth industrial revolution is real, so we want our recovering addicts to also get the skill and have access to ICT, but to also use ICT as an instrument to educate our addicts whilst they are at the center. But all the same time is to also for them to do some courses, because 1 year is a long time. So we want them to ensure that they leave there not the same way they came.
Okay, I mean, most rehab centres are voluntary, so they would have to, I would imagine, most of them, that they would have to check themselves in there, Minister. But do you actually find, and I'm gathering from what you're saying, is that they would be able to go out and find a job with what you are going to be teaching them? But is that enough time to teach somebody a skill?
Yes, it's actually enough time, because remember, it's not like majority of the young people that are using drugs have no skill at all. Some of them are graduates, some of them they just get caught up in the rat race. Our responsibility is to make sure that whilst we work in the family, because remember, it's the family that they stole everything from, it's the community that they stole everything from, and sending them back to that same community the same way we received them, it's not assisting the problem, it's just creating a revolving door. This is our second computer lab that we are doing in partnership with the MTN Foundation. We established one 2 years ago at the Ernest Malgas Drug Rehabilitation Center in Port Elizabeth, and the results are amazing. It has proven that the young people, when they live there after the year that we allocate for at the halfway house, they actually are employable, and a lot of them are working for the hotels in PE. They are working for the industry, and that minimizes the revolving door syndrome. It also assists them not to go back.
And I think we have heard several assessments recently over the past couple of years saying, yes, unemployment, poverty are some of the top reasons that we see people heading into such addictions as well. So on the other hand, Deputy Minister, if somebody has the skill, they get out there hoping to find a job, and they actually find it so difficult, as we see with the high unemployment figures in the country at the moment, isn't there a danger of them spiraling back into this kind of, addiction because of the hopelessness or because of the sense of failure? And how do you help or hope to prevent that?
We must always understand that once you use drugs, it doesn't matter whether you're going to be clean for 10 years or whatever, you are always a recovering addict. Because whether it's a cough mixture, any small thing can trigger the addiction. So that is the first thing that we need to understand. So put aside the unemployment, let's start with the family. Once the family is there to support the young person, whether they get a job or not, if they are welcomed back and supported by their family, by their communities, their likelihood of relapsing is very little.
So
and
reintegration is the important one.
reintegration, but also coping mechanisms and dealing with the root. Because there is something that leads me to drugs. What we are doing, and hence we are introducing the halfway houses as an addition to the detox and the rehab element, is for us to deal with the actual psychological need that led you to the drugs in the first place.
And as we know, like we've been saying, it is voluntary. So how do you actually hope to get them? What will you be saying to them to get them to actually come there so they can take this first step towards recovery?
What we need to understand is government provides rehabilitation services for free. We provide voluntary, because rehab is about you acknowledging that you have a problem.
Yeah.
You can't take somebody to rehab by force. But we also do have involuntary admissions. When you become a danger to society, a danger to yourself, and a danger to your family, we admit you involuntarily. But we also have court orders that get sent to us, where the court actually declares that you are going to rehab as part of your sentencing. So we have a mixed bag, but we're calling on young people. We have increased our bed space. We've brought 6 brand new rehabilitation centers run by government that provides rehab for free. We're calling on young people, if you're ready for rehab, come. Social development is ready to receive, to walk the journey with you.
Fantastic, and I look forward to seeing how this works out. Thank you very much, Deputy Minister Hendrietta Bogopane-Zulu. She's going to be handing over this multimedia centre at the Life Recovery Centre, Randfontein, and that's ahead of the International Day Against Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking. That is tomorrow. Speaking of difficulties, partner, not looking so good at Denel at the moment.